Namaste and Swagatam. Today's discussion will start with a prayer, and I'd like to call on Pandit Satish Bihari from Mauritius to chant a prayer. Pandit Satish Ji, please go ahead.
Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidhishavahe Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you.
Thank you, Satish ji, for this beautiful chant. And as we promised in the last session, that today we will start our discussion with a presentation on Indian time reckoning system or Vedic calendar. We had many queries regarding the time, what is time, how can it be calculated, and this calendar system, whether it was calculations are the modern world, modern ones, or they are being carried out from since the Vedic period. So I request Ashwini Bhai to present his presentation on Vedic calendar, which is most important part of Vedic knowledge system.
Okay. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes, visible.
And hear me okay? Okay, we'll start with the Vedic calendar. It's also known as the North Indian calendar and also known as the Panchanga. Now, some of the important features or attributes of a Vedic calendar. It's based on the movements of the heavenly bodies, the planets, the stars, and our galaxy. It doesn't speak of a particular race, religion, or region. It's not based on any particular person, place, or event. It's developed mainly on study and observation. Most of you are familiar with this calendar that's used around the world. It's called the Gregorian calendar. It's also known as the Christian calendar or the Western calendar. Now, let's take a look at some of the differences between the Vedic calendar and the Christian calendar. The Vedic calendar is based on the science of astronomy, whereas the Gregorian calendar is church-based. It was started by the Roman Catholic Church. Vedic calendar has its roots in the Vedas. The knowledge is derived from the Vedas, whereas the Gregorian calendar has been introduced in 1582 by Pope Gregory. And it's interesting, it almost took 200 years later for England to adopt it in 1752. One of the things I want to mention is that prior to the introduction of the Gregorian calendar, the Western world was using the New Year fell in March rather than 1st of January. On the Vedic calendar, the day starts at sunrise because that's an astronomical event. Whereas on the Gregorian calendar, it starts at 1 second after midnight. There is no science behind that. The Vedic calendar is lunar and solar based. It's called lunisolar. It's based on the harmonization of the lunar and solar cycles. Whereas the Gregorian calendar is mainly solar based. And that's only namesake because it does not start from any of the sun sign. Vedic calendar starts from the beginning of human creation, which was 1.96 billion years old. Whereas the Gregorian calendar is now only 444 years old. On the Vedic calendar, the years are computed from the beginning of Dakshinayana, or most of us know it as the summer solstice, which falls around June 21st, whereas the new year begins on January 1st. And as I said, this doesn't have any science behind it. And prior to 1582, it was the new year was in March. Now let's look at some of the benefits of the Vedic calendar. It's keep track of time and dates. It assists with some kalps for yajna and for yajnas. And for those who are not familiar with sankalp, it's a prayer that we chant with that gives the time since creation, since Srishti, somewhat biological creation, and current date, and plus the place of yajna. It also helps yajmans with Ritvik Varana. That's the welcoming of the priest. In the Vedic tradition, we are supposed to, when we have our own ceremony, a private ceremony, once the priest, Purohit, arrives at your venue, you are supposed to welcome him with a chant, and that also includes the Sankalp. The Vedic calendar is, the Vedic calendar also aids in naming of newborns. So you are supposed to use assign a name to the newborn based on the moon sign of the birth. With the Vedic calendar, you know exact time and dates of parvas or festivals, and I'll give you some examples there. It also used to record events in our itihas. That's most people know itihas as history, but as things happen, it records it in the calendar. It also used to determine exact age of creation. And in Vedic literature, it tells us of 3 types of creation. First of all, it tells us about the universal creation, when this cycle of the universe started. It also tells us of the biological creation, when things like plants and trees, first appeared on Earth. And then it also tells us about human creation. And human creation is known as Vedotpati in Sanskrit. And human creation started 12,096,000 years after biological creation. The Vedic calendar is based on the science of astronomy. And in Sanskrit, that word is Jyotisha. Now, I'd like to make some important point here. When you see the word Jyotisha by itself, in Sanskrit, it means astronomy. It does not mean astrology, as some people portray it today. There's also two more phrases that has become has started to come in use. The first one is Ganita Jyotisha, and the second one is Phalita Jyotisha. Ganita Jyotisha is astronomy, whereas Phalita Jyotisha is astrology. So when you see those, you have to make sure you know the difference between those. And lastly, I'd like to mention the Vedic calendar. Some of the principles are being used by other systems. For example, the word hour and 7 days a week. And I will give you a little more detailed explanation on that. And these are two concrete proofs that astronomy originated in Bharat. This is here is an example of a sankalp uh, that can be done. It can be shortened a bit, and we have given a shortened version in our Vedic calendar. And this also is the Ritvik Varanam that I spoke about, where when you have your own private functions, whether it's Havan or a puja or a wedding or something like that, this is an example of how you welcome the Purohit or the priest. Now, some of you may have noticed that most of the festivals we have are based on the lunar cycle. And to help determine when those festivals are to be observed, there are four things that you need to keep in mind. First of all, you have to know the lunar month of that festival. Secondly, you need to know the tithi or the lunar day of that festival. And thirdly, you need to know the end time of the tithi. And lastly, you have to know sunrise prior to that end time of the tithi. And I'll explain a little bit more about that. And one thing to keep in mind is that all of the above are as per local time. A lot of people get confused. They believe that if a festival is celebrated, say tomorrow in India, so that means we here in North America has to celebrate it on the same day. That's not correct. It's about based on the lunar month tithi of where you live. Okay. Parvas and festivals will be on days when sunrise appears before end of respective tithis. Now let's look at some examples here. The popular date for Maharishi Dayanand's Saraswati Jayanti is in the lunar month of Falguna. It falls on Krishna Paksh, 10th day or Dashmi. This year, that was on Thursday, February 12th. However, in North America, Trinidad, Guyana, and Suriname, that fell on February 11th, one day before. That's again because of the Tithi. Mahashivratri or Dayanand Pod Utsav, it's on Falguna Krishna Paksh 14th day. That happens to be Monday, February 16, 2026. And that's for everybody in the Eastern time zone of North America and East. Anybody west of that time zone, it's today, Sunday, February 15th. I forgot to put that in there. Now let's look at some other festivals, anniversaries. Holi, it all, and the dates on the Vedic calendar for the festivals, I have them in red. They're always going to be on that date. The variable date is on the Gregorian calendar, the Christian calendar. So for Holi, that falls on Falguna on Purnima, which is the last day of the bright half of the month. That will fall on Tuesday, March 3rd of this year. Now, a little bit about Holi. Holi is an agricultural festival. The word holy itself is derived from the Sanskrit word holaka, meaning grains. So, and that's when people have these community celebration on this day, and they share their grains and things like that with their villagers and other people. Then we have Pag or Hola Mohalla, which is the next day in the lunar month of Chaitra, Krishna Paksh. And this is the festival of colors. This year that will fall on March 4th. New Year, the lunar New Year is on Chaitra, lunar month Chaitra. It's on Shukla Paksh 1, Pratipada, first day of Shukla Paksh. And that falls on March 19, 2026. I'd like to take a minute here and explain. In the Vedic calendar, we have two New Years. We have the Lunar New Year, we have the Solar New Year. With the Lunar New Year, there are no years attached to it. They are the years that we use to measure time and measure years and things like that is based on the Solar New Year, which I showed you before, falls around June 21st. And even Rig Veda, I'll give you the reference later. Even in Rig Veda, it tells us that the moon is only measure the months of the year. It doesn't measure the years. However, most of us are familiar with Vikram Samvat. Vikram Samvat is an artificial era. It's not an astronomical era. And that starts on Chaitra Shukla Paksh. Okay. So Vikram era started in 57 BC. It was started by King Vikramaditya II. And he did it because at the time Nepal came under his control, and this was a way of celebrating that occasion. So that's how Vikram era started. It's only 57 years prior to the Christian era or the current era. We also have Arya Samaj Foundation Day. This is on Chaitra Shukla Paksh 5, fifth day of Shukla Paksh. And this year it's going to be on March 23rd, 26th. Now, there is some confusion with this date. If you go to Arya Samaj Kakarwari in Mumbai, the foundation stone says April 7th in 1875. But this date, Chaitra Shukla Paksh 5, is taken directly from a letter written by Rishi Dayanand to one of his friends the day after Arya Samaj was founded. And he clearly gave this date and the Christian date of April 10th, 1875. Another festival we celebrate is Ram Navami. It falls on Chaitra Shukla Paksh 9. That happens to be March 27th of this year. And for people in South Africa, Europe, South America, and North America, that will be on the day before March 26th. Raksha Bandhan, that falls on the lunar month of Shravana on Purnima, which is the 15th day or last day of the bright half of that month. It will be on August 28, 2026. Again, for people of South Africa, Europe, South America, North America, it will be on August 27th. Krishna Janamashmi, that falls in the month of Bhadrapada on Krishna Paksh 8th day. It will be on Friday, September 4th of this year. Deepavali, sorry, always falls in the lunar month of Kartika, and it's on Amavasya, and that's the last day of the dark half of that month. This year, it's November 9th. However, in South America and North America, it will be November 8th. Now, this is a page from the 2026 calendar, Vedic calendar. We show the Christian months and date, the weekdays. There's a Vedic solar month, the sunrise time, the sun sign that I spoke about that the Christian calendar does not use. And we have the lunar months, days, which are known as tithis, and the tithi end time to help you calculate the festivals and things like that. And the second page again has the Christian months and days. It has the moon sign and start time. We have the nakshatras or the constellations and end times, and we have a column here for festivals and events. Now, this this slide here is to give you an idea of how our um, how some of our planets are situated these days. We have the sun in the middle here, and we show the Earth um, is is orbiting that sun. But if you look carefully, you'll notice that the Earth is at a tilt. It currently has a tilt of about 23.5 degrees. Now, the tilt is responsible for those of us in the northern hemisphere and those of us in the southern hemisphere of the 4 seasons, and in India you have the 6 seasons. So this tilt is responsible for that. But more importantly, one of the things I want to mention, there is also some misunderstanding with things like some festivals. For example, um, in India, the the festival of Makar Sankranti is very popular. Now, uh, the the word Sankranti, it means when the earth moves from one sun sign to the next. Okay, when it enters another sun sign, and the word Makar is the name of that sun sign. So before the Earth had this 23.5 degrees um, tilt, Makar Sankranti started on January 14th. Okay, it's a solar festival. It's not a lunar festival. So it started on January 14th, and it's still celebrated today on January 14th, even though Makar Sankranti now starts the um, on the winter solstice around December 21st. Okay. There are two apparent paths of the sun, and uh, most of you are familiar of Uttarayan. It starts around December 21st, and as I said, it's known as the winter solstice. The sun, and that's because the sun is seen furthest south of the equator. We have also Dakshinayan, which starts from June 21st. It's the summer solstice. And again, as I said before, it's the beginning of the solar new year. Sun is seen furthest north of the equator. Okay, let's look at some of the importance of time or kala. It gives us a sense of sequence of events, past, present, future, or as we know, it's chronology. Time is available to all. We're supposed to utilize our allotment effectively. We do not subscribe to irrational notions, for example, world coming to an end, and better understanding of ourselves and purpose. Rishidanan says time is eternal. Measurement of time. The smallest, our rishis were able to determine that the smallest unit of time, or they were able to calculate the smallest unit of time to be 33,750th part of a second. And that is known in Sanskrit as Shruti. There's also the fourth smallest unit of time is also known as asu or prana, and that's equal to 4 seconds. And that's the time we for a healthy individual to breathe. So the next one is ahoratra. Ahoratra is the Sanskrit word for day and night, which is equal to 24 hours, and it's when Earth completes its one rotation around its axis. Ahoratra comes from two Sanskrit words. The first one is aha, meaning the lighted part, and ratri, meaning the dark part. Now, remember a little earlier I said the word hour is derived from the Vedic system. Um, the word hour was developed from the word hora, which was a degenerated form of ahoratra. We also have 7 days named after 7 planets. The 7 days represent the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Moon, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, because they influence the atmosphere of Earth the most. In the Vedas, it is described as the 7 lokas. And the Vedic seers remember these 7 lokas during their daily prayers as Om Bhu, Om Bhuva, Om Swa, Om Maha, Om Jana, Om Tapa, Om Satyam. The month is equal to 30 lunar days, which is also on this equal to 30.44 on the solar cycle, but they're synchronized or harmonized. The solar year is 365.25 days, which is equal to Earth's orbit around the sun. Sorry. The longest possible unit that our seers were able to measure was the cycle of creation decreation, and that was 311.04 trillion solar years. Now, earlier on, I mentioned that I'll give you the reference where in the Ved it tells us that moon is the maker of months. It's in Rig Ved 1.105.18. The the lunar month or Masa is based on moon's revolution around the Earth, approximately 29.5 days. Keep in mind that the moon's orbit is irregular. Therefore, some days or tithis are long and some are short. And for those who are interested, the names of lunar months are determined by the nakshatra at the end of Purnima of the said month. For example, month of Chitra falls under Sitra nakshatra or constellation. The Masa or lunar month has 15, both Shukla Paksh, which is the bright fortnight, and the Krishna Paksh, which is the dark fortnight. Both are 15 days, and the Shukla Paksh ends with Purnima or full moon, whereas um, the dark fortnight ends at Amavasya. And one important thing is you will see this always on the Vedic calendar, whereas in the Christian calendar, it doesn't it doesn't synchronize. There's no relationship to to the new moon or the full moon because it's basically a solar-based calendar. This is just gives you a visual of the orbit of the moon. Now, the Lunar New Year also has 12 months, and these are the 12 months of the year. And that's how um, we used for, to recognize those different festivals or anniversaries. Now, because the lunar month and the solar month are not the same, it has to be synchronized, and it that happens after 32 solar months and 15 days. An extra lunar month is added to the calendar to synchronize or harmonize the solar and lunar cycles. And that would most of you may have noticed that things like Deepavali, sometimes it occurs later in the year than normal. So this is the reason for that. Now this is going to be very interested to the people who wants to know about the calculation of time. We have in the Vedic system uh, a yuga system, or yugas. Yuga is the Sanskrit word, and the English word is conjunctions. So we have four types of measurements in the yuga system. Um, well, under each we have what we call a Mahayuga system, sorry. And in that Mahayuga system, we have what four periods. We have the Satya Yuga or Krita Yuga, which is equivalent to 1,728,000 years. We have Treta Yuga, which is 1,296,000 years. We have Dwapar Yuga, which is equal to 864,000 years. And we have Kali Yuga, which is 432,000 years. For each, they add up to 4,320,000 years. And that period is known as one Mahayuga. Now, to understand or explain um, our chronology, our history, things like that, you need to understand how this works. And these appear in the same order I have it here on the screen. And it is measured, for example, Kali Yuga starts when all the planets are aligned in uh, Ashwini constellation. Okay, and then the most recently, this happened in 3102 BC, and that's when this present Kali Yuga, we are in 28 Kali Yuga, that's when that started. Okay, we are so far 5,100, we're in the 5,127th year of this 28 Kali Yuga. Now, one thing I forgot to mention before, in when people talk of Ramayana these days, Ramayana is a historical event, but most people, all they know about Ramayana and when it happened, they know that it happened in Treta Yuga, but you cannot calculate when that was because you have to know what Treta Yuga um, that Ramayana happened. And in Valmiki Ramayana, it tells us that Ramayana happened in 24th Treta, the end of 24th Treta Yuga. So if we do the calculations, we will find that Ramayana historically happened 18.1 million years ago. So, so to do the calculation, now Treta Yuga, 24 Treta Yuga was 4 Mahayuga ago. So you times 4.32 by 4. You add. We have already passed. We have done the 28 Dwapara Yuga. You add 864,000, and then you add 5,127 years for the 28 Kali Yuga. One other thing I want to mention about Ramayana, people may want to know, well, that sounds a little too far out for me. Well, in Valmiki Ramayana again, it tells you that when Hanuman went in search of Mataji Sita in Lanka, he found that there were 4 tusked elephants guarding the palace. Now, 4 tusked elephants don't exist on Earth at this time. But if you check the Encarta encyclopedia, you will find that it tells you 4 tusked elephants inhabited this earth around that time. Now, I mentioned that this Kali Yuga started in 3102 BC. It was a Friday on September 5th. And when all the planets were housed in one zodiac sign. Now, we had 2 famous astronomers from France who verified these calculations. One was Sylvain Bailly and Mr. Le Verrier. They both did the math and confirmed that those calculations by the Hindu astronomers were correct. One important thing that you may want to note is Rig Veda was compiled with 432,000 syllables to represent the very astronomical basis of the Yuga system. Now, one thing I want to add is there are also shorter durations of the Yuga system. There's also a 5-year Yuga. There's a 12-year Yuga, and there's a 60-year Yuga. And the 12-year is more popular. That's because of the big festival we have every 12 years in India. And um, the name just escapes me right now. So, okay. Now remember, I said that the Vedic s- time calculation system is based on study and observation and calculation. We will talk about kalpa. Well, kalpa is 1 day of Brahma. And what is kalpa? Kalpa is one revolution of the Parameshti mandala around the Yambua mandala. That's the revolution of our galaxy, which is known as the Milky Way, around the supergalactic center. We know that one Mahayuga is equal to 4,320,000 years. Then we have something called Manvantara. Manvantara is the time it takes for the sun to orbit our galaxy. And that's equal to 71 Mahayuga plus one twilight or one transition period. And the Kalpa is equal to 14 Manvantaras plus 15 twilights. And at twilight, or the Sanskrit word Manusandhi, is equal to 1,728,000 years. So when you do the calculation, one kalpa is equal to 4.32 billion years. Okay, and um, and again, keep in mind that's 1 day of kalpa, or sorry, 1 day of Brahma. It does not include the it does not include the night of uh, of Brahma. So that when you double that, you get 8.64 billion years. Now, this is a quick um, slide to show you where we are in this period. So the star represent where we are currently. So, when you hear people talking, the world will end in, uh, you know, so in 10 years or wherever, they're not giving, it doesn't have any science behind it. Now we'll talk about the age of the universe. According to the Vedic system, we are in this creation cycle, we have completed 155,521,972,949,127 years. Again, as I said before, we have three types of creation. The biological creation is known as the Kalpa or Srishti era, and we have completed 1.97 billion years. And again, that's when life started in plants and trees and things like that, and and human creation started 12,096,000 years later. So to understand our chronology, uh, we can we have to be conversant with the Yuga, Mahayuga, and Manvantara cycles. They have to be taken into account. Other systems are guesstimate. For example, Archbishop Usher, um, his guesstimate was that creation started at 9 a.m. on the 26th of February, 4004 BC. Now, how did we come up with that 311.04 trillion years? I showed you how one day of Brahma is equal to 4.3 to 4.32 billion years. And if you add the night to it, it's 8.64 billion years times 360, which is the number of ahoratras in a year, and times 100, which is the number of years in each cycle. And that's how we come up to 311.04 trillion years. Um, Last year, a meteorite crashed into a house in Atlanta, and scientists examined that that meteorite, and they came out with a conclusion that it was 4.56 billion years old, making it about 20 million years older than Earth. And this is almost exactly what our Vedic uh, seers were able to calculate, that uh, Earth is 4.32 billion years old, as I showed in a previous slide. Some fossil evidence were found in Madhya Pradesh, India, and the scientists who examined those fossils um, uh, came up with the conclusion that those fossils were over 1 billion years old. So again, another evidence uh, of Western science catching up to Vedic science. Back in 2014, some Australian astronomers they said they found the oldest star ever recorded, and they said the star was 13.6 billion years old, making it the most ancient star ever seen. Again, this is in conjunction with what Vedic science teaches us. So, regarding the creation, this is not the first, nor will it be the last. There was never a first, there will never be a last. The creation cycle is in two halves. The creation side is known as Srishti. The solution side is known as Prali. This is a little visual of the five main uh, orbits that govern um, the the calendar, we have uh, the moon orbiting the Earth. We have the Earth orbiting the sun. The sun uh, orbits our galaxy, and the um, galaxy orbits our supergalactic center. Unfortunately, the last two are not on this slide. This is the condensed version I mentioned about of the Sankalp, and this is also uh, in our Vedic calendar. I'd like to conclude this is our heritage for those that accept the knowledge of the Vedas. It is our responsibility to preserve it by learning it, teaching, and supporting its propagation. And I'd like to give you a condensed quote from Pandit Gurudat Vidyarthi. He was a very learned Sanskrit scholar and also an English scholar. Uh, he said that astronomy is one of the sciences that is necessary to obtain the true meaning of the Vedas. Other famous quotes, Rishidanan, it was known to Indians that the earth was round and that the earth, sun, moon, and stars were in motion. Emmeline Planret, they were very advanced Hindu astronomers in 6000 BCs. Vedas contain an account of the dimension of the earth, sun, moon, planets, and galaxies. And Adolf Seelishar and P.K. Bose, scientists, 1 billion-year-old fossil prove life began in India. And these are the two scientists that found those 1 billion-year-old fossils. These are some of the scholars that contributed towards astronomy and towards um, the system that's still in vogue today. Most of the information I've given you today are available in this World Vedic calendar, and it's available on Amazon, wherever you are, on the Amazon platform. And that brings my presentation to an end. Dhanyavad, and hope this some of the information I've given you is of benefit, um, have cleared up some misconceptions. But if there are still questions, please feel free to um, put it in the chat, or if we have time, we'll try and answer it now. Dhanyavad.
Thank you, Ashwini Bhai. It was really a very excellent and mind-boggling presentation you gave here regarding uh, Vedic calendar system or Vedic time reckoning system. I think now we can take up the questions that we have received in the group chat. And I think the first question is from Bhanuji itself. She is here on the screen. She's asking the question number 1, the three Mahavyahritis. The three Mahavyahritis, they are often chanted Om Bhu, Om Bhuvaha, Om Swaha. When we chant Gayatri mantra also, Om Bhu Bhuva Swaha, like that we chant, and then Tat Savitur Varenyam, she is asking about that. Her question is, The Gayatri mantra of the Rig Veda associated with the sun deity. Savitri starts with adoration to the three Mahavyahritis. Again, these three Mahavyahritis referenced below in Sandhya mantra from Yajurveda are repeated. Om Bhu, Om Bhuva, then seven are there. Question: is the interpretation of the three Mahavyahritis, though contextually different from the Rigveda and Yajurveda, the same? So first of all, let me know these three Mahavyahritis that we chant and the Gayatri mantra. As I told, Gayatri mantra, the Chanda, Gayatri Chanda represents the Uttarayana period. When, as Ashwini Bhai pointed out, when sun is at the southernmost point, and that is 23.5 degree south of equator. So Gayatri Chand, because it is 23.5 degree south of equator, so naturally Gayatri Chand will have 24 syllables. So that is, and Gayatri Chand is also associated with Uttarayan. Uttarayan means when the sun will project itself on the northern hemisphere of the earth, because the sun will start shining or start be perpendicular on the northern hemisphere, and this will continue till 21st June. Then the sun's reverse order towards south will start. So certainly that astronomically Gayatri mantra, Gayatri Chanda is associated with sun astronomically. So that is why the Savita has been prayed here. The Devata is Savita, and Savita astronomically means the sun. Sun is also the cause of origin of life on the earth, and Brahman, that is the another meaning, spiritual meaning or adhyatmic meaning, because the God is also the cause of the life or the cause of the creation manifestation of this universe. So that way Savita or Gayatri, astronomically they are associated with the sun. And now the three Vyahritis, Om Bhu, Om Bhuva, Om Swaha. Because the sun rays, they are coming to the earth and they starts from the sun. And in the middle, the earth's magnetosphere is there. They cross it. They cross the magnetosphere of the earth and they come to the earth. So three Vyahriti is they denote. Bhu means earth, Bhuva means that magnetosphere of the earth or the mid space, and Swaha means sun. So this is the whole thing. Astronomically, as Ashwini Bhai also pointed out, the entire Vedic system, it is based upon astronomical calculations. Rigveda has four 132,000 syllables as per the calculation of Kali Yuga. That goes along with the in alignment with the calculation of Kali Yuga. So our system is mostly astronomical. Then you are talking about the seven Vyahritis. Om Bhu, Om Bhuva, Om Swaha, Om Tapah, like that. And these seven lokas, as Ashwini Bhai told in his presentation, they refer to these seven planets which are impacting the life cycle on the earth. And that Swami Dayananda also says these they are also known as Vasus, because they are the cause of origin of life on the earth. So this is I think the first question. And now the second question is mantra and the deity. As explained in the audio lecture 3, the mantras of the Rig Veda are associated with the seers and deities. While mention may be made of the deity in a mantra, the seer is usually is not. First of all, we must understand the meaning of the deity and the seer. And I think this is going to clarify your next query also. Deity means the subject matter of the mantra. And seer or rishi, you have, I think again you have called some questions. Rishis, what is the difference between seers, what seers and munis? So, rishi is associated with the particularly with the mantra portion. So the rishi has two meanings. Number one, Yask, the most ancient scholar available to us on Veda, he says Rishayo mantra drishtaraha. And again, Rishir Darshanat. So Rishi has two meanings. Number one, those primary rishis who visualized this knowledge system. So, visualization of this Veda itself, a person who is going to visualize or who is going to imbibe or receive this knowledge in Samadhi, he will also be known as Rishi. Rishayo Drishtaraha, Mantra Drishtaraha. And secondly, because when this knowledge system was received and it was conveyed to the future generations, then the future rishis came. They tried to interpret this knowledge in their own way, because this knowledge, Vedo Akhilo Dharma Moolam. Veda is the source of all knowledge that exists in this creation. So these 10, 20,000 mantras, they consist of every knowledge system, whether in all spheres, in social sciences, in positive sciences, in mathematics, in astronomy, in metaphysics, in social level. So every knowledge can be derived through this Vedic knowledge system, and the way of derivation is Lakshana, through Lakshana, by suggestive meaning or indicated meaning, not by direct meaning system, that is known as Abhidha. So the seers who derived different meanings, who found different subject matters in the Vedas, who discovered it, they are also known as rishis. So the rishi word associated with every mantra or every hymn means these rishis, these are not the primordial rishis or Agni, Vayu, Aditya, Angiras. These rishis are those rishis who have discovered some meaning, hidden meaning or intended sense in different fields of the mantras. So the rishi name that is associated presently with him, sukta or the mantra, they are the rishis who discovered different rishis. So now the difference between sage, Muni and seer. So seer is that actual rishi who has seen that meaning in that mantra. So sage is any astic. Any astic can be the sage. A sage can be the rishi. But any astic who is not seer of the mantra, he can also be a sage, he is a yogi. And Muni is also just like astic who keeps mum and who maintains silence, who is not going to speak, who is doing his sadhana. So these are the differences. Seer means seer is associated with a person who has visualized some meaning in the mantra, because there was a time in Indian history or in Bharatiya Itihas, during Yaska itself, that the people started saying that these mantras are meaningless, nirarthaka hi mantraha, because they didn't visualize any meaning. So now the question is, why Maharshi Dayananda we are using the word Maharshi or Rishi to Swami Dayananda. Because in this modern history, after Mahabharata, during that period of 5,000 years period, even Shankara was a great scholar, but Shankara didn't attempt any translation of the Vedas. Shankara attempted only the translation of Upanishads, and he remained himself confined to the Vedanta because of his short age. He died so early. So I'm not saying that he was not knowing the Veda, because due to the time period he had with him, he did this work. And same thing happened with Swami Dayananda. He had some double time period than Shankara, and whatever time period he got, he tried to translate. He tried to find out the exact meaning, or means some fruitful meaning of the mantras, and he was not able to complete the entire all the four Vedas. So Swami Dayananda is called Rishi, but he himself used to call himself or write himself as Dayananda Saraswati. Sometimes he used the word Pandit Dayananda Saraswati. This we people are calling him Rishi Dayananda because he was a seer of the Vedic mantras, and this is out of respect. Sometimes we call him Maharshi Dayananda also, just like this is the subjective address, and we use these words Maharshi Kanada, Maharshi Jaimini. Oh, we are using, sometime we are using the word Rishi also. So Maharishi literally means great seer, great seer, or Rishi means seer. So this is our own individual respect for those seers who have imparted this knowledge to us. Okay, I have lost, just a minute, I'm just coming to that chat. It has closed. Vedic class. Yeah. Then, uh, so I think these three questions are the same rishis. Shia Rishi. These three questions I have given answer. Now I'm coming to next one, fourth question. In view of the four primordial rishis, four different cosmic cycles. No, these cosmic cycles are the different one, and four primordial rishis, as I told, Agni, Vayu, Aditya, Angira, they received these mantras. They visualized these mantras. Agni Mili Purohitam Yajna Shadevam Ritu, like that we chant. And then they passed on this system to the future rishis along with their intended sense, but through with the passage of time the mantra, the meaning was forgotten. Then the future rishi, they try to find out the meaning, and the same thing was done by Swami. Then so 800 seers that are associated with Vedic mantras, they are the discoverer of their meanings. They are not the discoverer of the mantras. Can we speak in a hierarchy of rishis? So there is no need of hierarchy. The first generation belongs to Agni, Vayu, Aditya, Angira, who visualized the mantra itself. Second generation of rishis, they were those who found or who discovered the hidden meaning, or who discovered the devatas of the mantra. Devata means subject matter or the hidden meaning of the mantras. Were the four primordial rishis source of the knowledge? No doubt they were source of this knowledge, who imparted these four Vedas, and the truth perceived by subsequent, although they perceived the truth also, but when this truth was forgotten, the seers who revived, because you just see, you can imagine, every mantra or every sukt has a seer, because different people try to find out the mantra. So no one seer is mentioned to the whole Veda, but it is Swami Dayananda who did a translation of entire Yajurveda and till seventh chapter of the Rig Veda. So that's the difference. They try to do it. Is it possible that multiple seers were attributed? Yes, Multiple seers can be attributed because if multiple seers means they have found out the multiple mantras in tradition, so one mantra can be attributed with multiple seers because of discovering multiple meanings. So, but this was happening in a school based. The seers they were discovering, they were passing on this information to the future generations. As Ashwini Bhai told, it's not a, some 5,000 years history, 10,000 years history, it's a billion years history. So during that period, whatever could be survived, and there, it's not fixed. Sometimes different texts are there. Rigveda Sarvanukramani is there. Then there are different texts. Sometime a different mantra is assigned to a different seer in some text and a different seer in other text. This also shows or validate your hypothesis that many seers have been assigned to one and the same mantra, because if many seers they are going to discover different type of meanings, so they were associated in tradition. But now we are not going to do it because it was the past history. Now if Yajurveda Bhashya is there, then we write Swami Dayananda, Sayana, Venkat Madhav, like that. So we are going to do commentaries on this. So what is possible that multiple rishis were attributed to single mantra? If so, why? So I have answered it. What does it mean when we speak of the rishi as seeing a mantra? Hearing, seeing a mantra or hearing a mantra is the same thing. I told we call, and those were only those four rishis, or perceiving a mantra. Then, but one is seeing a mantra, perceiving a mantra, and another rishi is who see, who sees the meaning or who perceives the meaning in the mantra. So two ways are there. Combination, was it non-sensory? Was it, what was Aksha perceiving? Was it a combination of visual or auditory senses? No. When the mantras were first received, it was only the auditory in samadhi. Means in samadhi, it's neither it's an audition, it's a paravak. Paravak. Because now we are dealing the whole thing at apara level. Avyakta. These are two types of speech. Avyakta vak. Avyakt means which is not manifest. Unmanifest level, you have received that knowledge that exists in your mind. But Vyaktavak, as I told, that is the expressed speech or manifest speech, that is of three types: para, pashyanti, and na. Uh, para, para, apara, and that aparavak is pashyanti, madhyama, and vaikhari. Pashyanti means what you think inside in your mind, then you try to speak it. Madhyama means then your air from your lungs, it starts moving towards your mouth because you want to say something. So that is known as a madhyama, the activity. And vaikhari means whatever expressed, what is spoken by you. So that level, the seers who received this knowledge, it was at upper level, they had it. But when they passed this knowledge on to the future rishis, it was at the level of Vyaktavak or auditory level or hearing level. But when in thousands of times after, thousands of years after, when the people they were not able to retain the knowledge or cram this entire knowledge by hearing, then this whole knowledge was documented. Then the documented knowledge started. So was it non-sensory? But when we receive some knowledge, either in samadhi, that is a supersensory level. It cannot be received with these five, or we can super sensory level at the level at the when you become one with Brahman, that is super sensory level, and this sensory level belongs to this material world. Through these eyes, through this ear and everything, we can sense and perceive things of the material world. But when we are going to perceive or cognize our own true self or the Brahman, that is the super sensory level, that transcends this material system. Were cosmic sounds heard and later transmitted? I think I have answered your question. So, any other question?
Yes, Bhairavi. Prisha ji has a question, and she's saying Mahabharat was in Dwapar Yuga. Why do we say it was 5,000 years ago?
Yeah, Prishaji, Mahabharata took place at the end of Dwapara Yuga. At the end of Dwapara Yuga means 36 years before the start of Kali Yuga. And Kali Yuga started in 3102 BC or 3100 101 BCE. So Mahabharata took place around 3137 BCE. So if you calculate 3137 BCE, it was 28th Dwapar. So if you will calculate 3137 BCE plus this 2000 uh, 26 we are having, so it is around 5000 years old.
Next question was from Usha ji. Usha Thakur ji, please go ahead.
Yes, you
Namaste.
can ask directly also.
Yes, Namaste ji, Professor ji, and Ashwini Bhai. It was well presented based on the constellation studies. I have a question though, because so many people are saying Shubh Mahashivratri, etc. I also hear that I got a video that what is the position of the Earth constellation based on Brahman? I hear the door of Brahman will open as the magnetic field at this time is so thin that the Earth vibration can reach there. Is that true? Can you validate that?
You know, we can't say anything about it, why they are saying so, because our position in our galaxy.
Yeah.
Because galaxy has been divided into 27 nakshatras. Okay, and why these 27? In Atharvaved, there is a mention of 28 nakshatras also. But when Earth moves around the sun, its ecliptic path or orbital path is there. So around orbital path of the Earth, which are some, you can say, 20-degree longitude or so, 27 nakshatras in a circle has been identified, and these all nakshatras, they belong to our Milky Way galaxy. So we are residing in Milky Way galaxy at Mrigashira nakshatra. Our sun is residing in Mrigashira nakshatra. So we are the resident of Mrigashira nakshatra. And because the sun, it is known as a Shiva, so Shiva is symbolized as wearing the Mrigacharma, na? So that our seers, they never wore the Mrigacharma or that skin of the deer. It is just a symbolism because we are living in Mrigashira Nakshatra. Mrigashira Nakshatra is known in English as Orion. I think now you can understand better. So the vibrations are always going on when everything is moving. Earth doesn't have one movement. Earth revolves around its axis, that is one motion. Then there is one precision, it is wobbling, that is the second motion of the earth. Then this earth is moving around sun, that is the another motion of the earth. Then along with sun, this earth, this whole system is moving around the galaxy, that is the fourth motion of the earth. Then along with galaxy, this whole system is moving around the supergalactic center, that is known as one kalpa. And suns moving around galaxy, that is known as one manvantra. So this is how this whole system is taking place. So whatever is happening, vibrations are already there. When something will move, either in the air or in the water, or on the earth itself, if you walk, the some vibrations will be there which are not heard by us and which may be heard by super sensory equipments. When this earth is moving around the sun, it emits a sound in this cosmos, and that sound is just like the sound of a flute, masuri. Some vibrations are emitted when the this moon is moving around this earth. It also emits some vibrations, so vibrations are always there. But these vibrations are going to have any effect? I don't think. Because when we say the planets, the Earth originated around 4.32 billion years ago, and it is going to survive. The life on this Earth is going to survive around the same period. So half of the period we are now, and another half remains to be there, but the life can, go away from Earth as soon as possible also because of human activities. If we do some, we are not doing eco-friendly activities, because our Vedas, they are talking about do all activities eco-friendly in consonance with the environment, this universe, creation. So, in alignment with this created system, we are supposed to live. If we are going to do something anti to this system, certainly we can lose the life on this earth.
Mhm. Thank you, Professor Ji.
We have another question from Prishaji, and it is, were the Vedas revealed to the primordial rishis in Satya Yuga?
The first yuga, when we say in 1.96 billion years ago, so Satya Yuga is start first. Then comes Treta, then comes this Dwapar, then
Proper.
Kali Yuga, and this cycle is, in one mantra, in one mantra, the Mahayug cycle is around 71, and in one kalpa it is 1000. 1000 time the Yug cycle repeats. That makes a manvantara. So naturally, when the Vedas start, when this human being came on the earth, those first Yug name was given was Satya Yug, and since then this tradition is going on. So it was Satya Yuga, it was uh, Shvet Varaha Kalpa, and Satya Yuga. And the first, now we are in seventh Manvantara, but in the first Kalpa, the first Manvantara was there, and its name is there, I have forgotten. So first Manvantara is also there. Seventh Manvantara's name is Shvetvaraha, and Ashwini Bhai may be knowing. The first Manvantara name is there. So Shvetvaraha Kalp, first Manvantara, and first Satya Yuga, you can say.
Um, I don't think we have any other questions at this point.
Yeah.
So um, I think we can now close for today. So, and,
Okay. Namaste, everybody.
namaste, and see you
Namaste.
next
Thank
week.
you. Thank you.
This was an amazing presentation, Ashwini Bhai. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Thank